Hello and welcome. So we are here again with another session. Our guest today is Mr. Justin Jebanandam. He's working with Leads as a cost manager, and we are here to check with him in terms of collaborating, getting his knowledge, and sharing it with our audience. So welcome,
Thank you.
Justin. So could you please take us through your brief background and introduction?
So thank you for having me here. And I'm Justin, and I'm working as a assistant cost manager at Leads. And prior to that, I was a student of RICS SB. And recently, I was working with Cushman and Wakefield as well as a investment monitoring professional. So in my current role, I'm basically involved in pre-construction activities in QS, and that's how my career has been progressing well.
Sure. All right. So working with multiple organizations there into the field of cost, and that's the specialization that you're looking at. So let us take us through the journey of probably a professional who is working in the quantity surveying. How the day at work looks like. So let's take an example of an executive or entry level professional who is into cost consulting or cost consulting might not be the right word. Let's say quantity surveying, QS related activities. How does the day at work looks like? Because what we see is the job description is one part of things, but when we actually get into work, there are a lot of other areas that we need to cover, which might be covered in the JD, might not be. So, over to you. How does the day at work looks like with all the work to be done?
Yeah, so it's actually easy to understand. So basically, we'll divide it into two parts. Like it comes under post construction and pre construction.
Okay.
So in pre construction, so we are involved in quantity surveying. That is the whole part. So we derive the quantities, we put the cost in it, and we come to an budget. Like we derive at a budget. So that is given to the client, and then client approves it, and based upon that, we go for a tendering process, and then the client and the contractors have been appointed. So that is the pre-construction stage roles of the cost consultant. And when you talk about post-construction, so it involves like when the contractor has been assigned. So we check their bills, we review their bills, we check the work which has been executed at site, and based upon that, we verify and check the bills based upon the budget, and then approve it. So the role of a cost manager is basically depends upon in which stage of construction is working, in pre-construction or post-construction.
So again, you talked about multiple roles in terms of a project management, as I see that. So when you are, let's say the project is yet to be initiated, which is a pre-construction stage, you are looking at, let's say, as a project manager in terms of what is the cost of the, or probably the planning stage of things, how the cost is involved, how the budgeting is to be done. Probably it would also involve reporting research and reporting in terms of how the cost structure would look like, what are the various breakdowns in terms of areas.
Yes.
Then when the approval arrives and the responsibilities are defined, you probably have a team or you identify a team. Again, a HR perspective of things which actually comes into play. And when you are working to appoint vendors, there is a vendor management, stakeholder management role comes into play, and there is a background verification and probably maintaining that relationships come into play. And with those billings, and when you are referring to your the amount of work has been done, and then releasing of the payments, the finance role comes into place. So there are a lot of areas that you are working there. How do you manage all these things? Is it the one person role, or multiple people are involved?
Like for example, like if you come into consulting, you have to be a multitasker. Surely that is, and that is actually a good part. Like you get exposed to different stages of construction, different roles you are into. So that really gives you an exposure, like how the project works. So unfortunately, in our company, we are working as a whole. So for example, if I have given a project, so I am involved from the initial stage to the final stage.
Right.
So that I've been exposed from the starting until the end. So now, for example, if you take some client comes into and appoints us, and like clients initially have a high expectation of work, like they design it in such a way that they don't look at a cost aspect.
Right.
So when the designs come in and then we actually work on it, So we have our benchmarks of cost. So based upon that, we derive at our cost. So then sometime it goes out of budget. So then we have to do some design management. So the client comes again with the architects. And then we say that if we reduce this, and there could be some reduction in cost, but sometimes there is some mandatory requirements on the client. So that those things have to be existed in the initial stage. So that becomes really interesting to interact with different stakeholders of the project. So that helps us in design stage and also the cost part. Then comes the procurement stage, so where we appoint the contractors, as you said.
Right.
So there also our experience really matters. Like what is the experience working with those contractors? What is the background of those contractors? How they have worked previously?
Yeah.
So we check, we do the background verification, like going to their sites and asking some references for those things.
Right.
So based upon, it's just not the final the quotation that we receive, but we really look into the background, like how capable they are to execute.
Right.
So really it gives exposure to different things.
Well, you need to make sure the quality is intact and you are on time and things goes as smooth as planned. So which is why all of these things are required. So we discussed pre-construction. What is the post-construction task looks like?
So post construction, it's like basically many of the clients nowadays, they are involving cost consultant in the post construction. Initially, what is to happen? The client, they have their own team of engineers, so they used to directly certify the bills of the contractors. But there used to be quality compromises in those things. So and even some cost escalation, which those engineers wouldn't be able to find it out.
Okay.
So there our role comes in. So we identify where the cost has gone up, why it has gone up. So we give the justification, like why the cost has gone up, and why and how it can be mitigated in the future, and how those things. So we check all the quality aspect. We check all the how the things have been executed at work, and based upon that only we create a escalation sheet, like why things have gone wrong, why it has been escalated.
Right.
So we give a justification to the client. So based upon that, the clients approve the bill. So it shows a kind of responsibility towards the client, and client also believes. So that's the kind of role that we have in post construction.
Sure. So a lot of ground to cover again. So it does not sticks around to one part of the area, but with the education that you have received, with the experience that you are working on. So most of the part of the project management, the the quantity part, the quality part, and the stakeholder management, which I see, which is major role to play around, and again the relationship building is coming out of it. So this is a lot of behavioral aspects of things which are coming into play. All right,
One example I would like to give it to
Sure.
you. Like in previous organization when I was working with Cushman, so it was a project in somewhere interiors of Maharashtra. So it was a financially bankrupt project. Like I can say, the client had no money to complete the project.
Okay.
So they had taken loan from one of the NBFCs, and those NBFCs had employed us on their behalf on the site to do the monitoring, and based upon like our suggestion, our justification, and our billing process, like they used to, based upon our procedure of checking the bills, they used to certify and do the disbursement. So that is the kind of trust that the banks have on us, on the cost consultants, on the people who give services of this kind. So that is the role that the post construction is having on us for the consultants.
Good to know that. And when we talk about trust, that reminds me about the MRIC as a qualification, and you are already on your path towards the MRICS. You're a candidate there. So help us understand, how do you come about the idea of that you need to do an MRICS, and what are the benefits that you see out of it?
To speak about it truly, it's like when I did my bachelor's, I was in a state like this is my last stage of education. Now I have to go and work and earn.
Right.
But when I came into the industry, I saw that there is a lot to learn in the industry. It's a constant process to learn and grow.
Right.
And when I did my RICS, SV from SV, so it gave me a platform to understand like how different things can be achieved in the built environment. So that really inspired me, and MRS is and truly is I believe it's a blessing for the engineers, like in the built environment. Because if you look at any JD, like if any job description, it's a mandatory requirement for MRICS. And
Not as of now, but for the Middle East, it is.
it is, yeah. So, but that really like gives us a good hold in the industry. And when I see my colleagues, my seniors in the leads, so we have a different kind of respect and different kind of extra responsibilities are given to those people holding MRICS,
Right.
and that really gives us a boost to go and pursue it, and it really makes us a industrial ready professional. So if you are a MRICS qualified person, so that the people, the employer in front of you directly knows that you are a qualified person.
Right.
So he has a kind of trust, direct trust on you based upon the MRICS. So that really motivated me to go for it, and I'm on the pathway to do it.
Sure. Yeah, our best wishes are with you in on that area. And we see that the confidence and trust the qualification brings in with the individual. It actually implies that the person knows what he's talking about or what he's referring. So in your case, it is a quality serving as a pathway, or let's say project management as a pathway. When you are standing out in a crowd, it just differentiates you out of the crowd, that this is a person who knows what he's talking about. It gives you the global recognition, as we talked. Middle East is they're really looking forward for MRICS on specific job roles. As we talked about with the leads, people are really required there so that they actually can guide, counsel, or probably take those decisions basis the learning that they have, and which is verified by people during the APC process. So good to know that you're already there. And probably with that, MRICS, how do you see that the collaboration and knowledge sharing can actually happen within the community that we have? So be it a alumni community, or be it the members community, how we can step ahead and get into a collaboration mode so that young professional can actually learn from the seniors.
So actually, it gives us a platform to which I have experienced from my own in this 7 months of journey. So it has given me a platform to come across various conferences. Like recently, we had the construction conference, and before that, we had a real estate conference held at Sofitel few months back.
Yeah.
So there are many of the industrial experts had been there. Even Sanjay Dutt sir from Tata, he was also present over there. So we were able to directly interact with those giants of the industry,
Senior professionals, yeah.
So knowing their thoughts, knowing the what's exactly going on in the industry, like what are the problems they daily face, and how the big companies are trying to solve those problems. So those are the kind of exposure that you get. Even I was able to attend a conference between India and Australia based upon the sustainability. So that really exposed me to understand like how the Australian and Indian, they are collaborating in doing something for the sustainability part.
Right.
So that gives us actually a platform, like on a global level you can understand like how the things are going, and it also helps us to network with those people, and which will really benefit us in a long term process.
Right. So we can create similar kind of opportunities, not just through the conferences, but again smaller interactions,
Yeah.
probably within the same building or a community or a member group or the alumni group, and then can drive a knowledge out of it. Basis your building a gap, bridging the gap between the seniors and the juniors, getting the experiential learning out of them, and work spreading it across to the group. So really insightful, and really thankful to you that you spared some time for us and contributed towards the learning of for the our audience. And I see that with the cost and the areas that we discussed, it will really help our audience to understand how the nature of work looks like, and if they are looking to build their career in the same pathway, they at least have a clarity in terms of what is the day in and day out work. And if they see that that's not what I'm made for, because that also requires you to visit the sites, be at probably the banks, try and create reports, present to the the decision makers and so on. So if the person sees that that's something that I was not looking for, I may have a different perception altogether, now with this kind of content, they might be able to make the wise decision early in their career and move in the right direction. So thank you so much for sharing your insights and thoughts.
Thank you so
And we wish you all the best for the MRICS when
Thank
you
you so
get
much.
there.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you.